Last week was my experimental week in which I did 4 high-intensity workouts or races to see how my body would do. At the beginning of this week, I figured, I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm going to go do another Zwift race. It was during that race where I determined, I need to take a little time off. Hey, cycling community, this is Steve, Grusis the Cycling Greek. This race is on a Tuesday. I took the next day off, and then on Thursday, I did an easy endurance ride to get ready for this tough group ride that I anticipated was going to be happening on Saturday. This race is a little over 15 miles, and we started with 72 riders, and already from the gun, somebody took off. And already he has a 3-second gap. I'm pretty confident this rider doesn't think he can go all the way solo, although I'm sure he wouldn't mind it if he did. Probably what he's doing is hoping to draw out some more riders so he can form a working group. Jumping ahead a bit, this guy didn't want to be caught. It was over a mile later that our group finally caught him. Now, when he first started off, we were just kind of letting him burn out there. But it soon became quickly evident that this guy seemed pretty strong, and there were those riders that wanted to join him, so some of them tried to do that. The rest of the pack wasn't having it. Speed increased, stayed steady, and we finally caught him. If you look at the little insert map in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that chase caused a lot of damage. That basically split our pack into a few groups. Our front group here has about 36, 38 people, and out of the 72, that's at least half. It looks like people are starting to counter, so that's why the speed is staying so high. And that reminds me of a race I did 1 week ago during my experimental week. Oh yeah, and I have those 4 races and workouts linked in the description below, so definitely check that out. Entertaining. The race I did a week ago was just as fast as this race. It was about the same distance, same type of course, and the wattage per kilogram was the same, 3.2 for me in each of those races. The difference is in that the race that I did a week ago, they combined us with the A's and the B's, and of course the D's. Jumping just a little bit to the 2-mile mark, there is another attack. Because of how my legs are feeling, I just want to stay toward the front and stay on people's wheels. Now you'll notice that I've been riding toward the front, and that's a major tactic of mine. This way I can react quicker to whatever surges are going on, and I would have less chance of being gapped. And if I was gapped, then I'd have to jump across, which would be a tough thing to do since I'm 69 years old. And most, if not everybody's going to be a lot younger than me. Again, jumping ahead to a little less than 8.5 miles to go, we are approaching the Aqueduct KOM. I'm now riding at the back of our 37-38 rider group. I assure you that's not by choice. Now you'll notice that we're stretched out. That's because the strong in our group, and there are many of them, know that the Aqueduct KOM is about to begin. And this is where things are going to get stretched out. Not only stretched out, you can have separate groups, you can have a small group going up ahead. And it's a question of, which group am I going to be in? I always have the minimal goal of wanting to finish in the top half. Since the pack I was in, numbered 38, seemingly there's a good chance of that, but it's quite easy that I can get dropped from this group and get caught by the next group that's 48 seconds behind me. So I'm going as hard as I can. You can look at my ugly face in the lower left-hand corner. That means I don't have a lot more bananas to give, and I'm trying to jump from one split to another. If you look at the insert map again in the upper right-hand corner, yeah, we are stretched out, and you can see these little splits. And you might see my little red figure up there, the little red dot. There are a lot more people ahead of me than there are behind me. I use a lot of bananas to get where I am, but I need to rest, so I'm backing off the watts. The problem is, as soon as we turn left, it starts to go downhill a little bit. What I should be doing is what I'm doing now, putting them on watts just to move up to get to another group, but again, I'm 69, I need to recover a bit. So there's a split up there, I'm getting up to this group, and then I'm hoping that this group will take me up to the next group, which is right now about a second, maybe 2 ahead of us. Jumping ahead to 4.9 miles to go, our group never caught that front group. Now we had some people in our group that jumped away from us and were able to eventually, after a long struggle, connect with that front group. And we did lose some people that were in our group, so now we are down to a group of 9. That group behind us that was about 48 seconds behind us, well, there's a couple of people now that are about 27 seconds behind us. So I'm getting a little nervous because we're going a little too slow, and I've recovered a bit. So I decided to go. Remember, a main motivation of mine is to finish in the top half, and that means finishing 36th or better. Finishing in the 20s, that would be great. Right now I have a 1 second gap, but I just can't keep this up, so I start to slow. Now I look at the information on the right hand side, so now I have a 2 second gap on some of them and 1 on the others, so it would be cool if this action would just whittle down the group, but it doesn't look like it. I'm surprised though that they haven't come up on me, and that's now at 2 seconds. I just don't have the legs or the confidence right now to go because it's about 4.5 miles to go. That's a long, long ways. Hopefully now, jumping ahead for the last time, this is about 3.1 miles to go. We lost one person, we're a group of 8, and I decided to take off again because things were going too slow. I can't sprint. The guys probably can sprint better than me. Immediately I get a 1 and 2 second gap, now 2 and 3 second gap. I gotta say I was a little surprised at that, so I figure right now I just have to keep a minimum of 3.5 watts per kilogram. I'm now up to a 3 second going on 4 second gap. Even though my watts per kilogram are higher than what the group is doing, that doesn't guarantee that I'm going to stay away from them. In fact, that doesn't guarantee that I'm going to pull away from them because they're a group. They can share that workload. Starting from a little over 3 miles out, this is one long effort. I'm keeping my eye on 3 things. The first being the graphics on the right that shows me the gaps, which were down to about 2 seconds, now back to 3 seconds. I'm looking at the insert map in the upper right hand corner, and I'm looking at the distance I have to go still that's right above me in that white space. The gap is now starting to grow to 4 seconds. I'm hoping that I break these guys. What I'm hoping is that some are just hanging on and causing the others to do the work, and that they eventually decide not to work because they can't. They may feel that they're doing all the work that the others are going to benefit from. I also see that I have a lone rider in front of me about 8 seconds up. If I can keep this pace up, it's quite conceivable that I'll catch him. Now, I'm sure that he's looking at me coming up, so he's thinking, all I have to do is keep my watts per kilogram above what he's doing. Let's now take a look at another piece of graphics at the bottom of the screen. See that colors down there? I was holding a particular wattage range, and I'm guessing that yellow color is right around threshold. Now, you can see where I dipped into the green because I was starting to get tired, and now it's back up again. I'm looking at again, the watts per kilogram of those behind me, and I look at the watts per kilogram of that rider ahead of me. That rider's doing a much better job keeping his watts per kilogram above mine. It's now about 2 kilometers to go. That gap to the group in back of me was at 6 and 7 seconds, and now it's starting to float to about 5 to 6 seconds. I'm starting to get tired, as you can tell by my color at the bottom. I keep it at yellow for a while, and then it goes down to green. With now 1 mile to go, it is oscillating, and I have that 6 seconds that I'm still maintaining, and I see some 7 seconds too. I look at this and I'm thinking, yeah, this is good, but it ain't over till the fat lady sings. So many times in my young cycling Greek days, I got caught on the last corner of these criteriums. I'm not talking about Zwift criteriums, I'm talking about on-the-road criteriums back in the day. Now 1 kilometer to go, and the gap to the rider in front of me is 6 seconds, as it is to the group in back of me. I have no idea what's going on with the camera that's on me, but it's starting to move a bit. Don't know why, but you can see my ugly face. I'm putting everything into this. Now the gap in back of me is down to 4 seconds, and I have about 0.4 miles to go. Still a long way. Now down to 3 seconds. I'm going as hard as I can. I now have orange numbers because this is it. There's nothing else. Going orange and red cost me. I'm now having to back up just a bit. I'm into the green. I make a point not to give up, to keep going. He passes me at 600 feet. Another one passes me about 400. And at 200 feet, and boom. I got about 28th, I think. Yeah. All right. I hope you enjoyed this and you got something out of it. I took a rest day after this, for sure. As always, remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.